Do you know what? I just can't concentrate. I'm going to have to shave this beard off. Oh, that's better. Let's get started. Hello Rebrand gang, and welcome to another episode of Rebrand Everything. Today we're going to be creating 5 new logos for Toyota, and then you can vote for your favourite in the poll at the end. Let's go. So weirdly enough, I was going to do this logo a few weeks ago, but I thought that the only other car logo that I'd rebranded was Tesla, and they also begin with T, have a red logo, and are a car company. So I thought it's probably best not to do 2 so similar videos so close to each other. But then I saw on the internet more recently that Toyota have updated their logo from this to this. So I thought now was the perfect time to do a little rebrand. So I started just by doing my research, which is looking at the logo, looking at their previous logos and trying to find out any meaning that their current logo has behind it. And I found a couple of different Toyota websites that showed the meaning of the logo. One of them said, the Toyota ellipses symbolise the unification of the hearts of our customers and the heart of Toyota products. The background space represents Toyota's technological advancement and the boundless opportunities ahead. Then I also found another web page, also by Toyota, but from a different region. And it had a different meaning that's a similar kind of thing, it's equally as fluffy. But it also mentioned something that I did think was worth considering, which is that the current logo is symmetrical, so that it's recognisable face on or in a rearview mirror. So that's a good consideration. I think maybe I'll take into the ideas stage. So as always, the sketching phase was absolute chaos and all over the place, lots of different ideas just all getting thrown down onto the page. I had the ovals in my mind from the current Toyota logo, so I started drawing out stuff like that, so circles and ovals, and just trying to see different ways that I could make the letter T. And I kind of thought that would be more of a refresh of the logo rather than a complete redesign for one option. Then after doing that for a little while, I started sketching out ideas in completely the other end of the spectrum, completely the opposite direction. So instead of soft and circular, I was thinking, no, let's just completely clear that from our minds and just go completely the opposite, like sharp and angular and really geometric and hard design. And once I had them 2 ends of the spectrum down on the page, I found myself kind of combining the 2, which I thought could either look really good because of the contrast between the 2 styles, or it will look like an absolute messy mix of styles, but that's all down to the execution when it comes to the illustrator stage. A few of the other ideas I had drawn out on here were some negative space icons, so perhaps using an oval and then cutting the T out of that and just using that negative space. Part of the boundless opportunities wording that they use in the logo meaning got me thinking about maybe just an infinity sign if I can somehow incorporate that without it being too cheesy. Then I started looking at just a few different layouts of how we could maybe make like a badge of the logo, as this is going to be on the front of a car, and just thinking about stuff like if the full logo with the word mark won't go on the front of the car, what part of the logo would you take to put on the front as the emblem? Make sure that the icon's simple enough that it can work when it's just chrome on the colour of the car. If you enjoy these videos, please don't forget to press like and subscribe and put the little bell on if you want notifications every single time I upload. Also, if you haven't already, you should follow me on Instagram, which is @RebrandEverything, as I post stories such as cute or ugly little freak, Gotham versus Montserrat, and Futura versus Din. Let's get on with it. So for option 1, I wanted to start by taking their current logo and just simplifying it to the maximum. So I took the outer shape off of the icon, and this left us with the same shapes inside, but now it took up less space, so therefore can be made bigger next to the word mark. Once I'd done that, I noticed that the lines that they actually use for the ovals are all made up of like varying thickness strokes, and that's not really my kind of style. So I thought to simplify that, I would just recreate it, but all using one single width stroke, because I just feel like that fits in with the sort of modern look that we want to get. Just looks a lot more clean, modern, and basically clear and more scalable. Once I had this basic outline, I just tried that in various shapes until I thought it looked really comfortable next to the text. Just constantly looking at that spacing and trying to get the balance right. And then I was trying the icon next to the text in a few different places just to see what looks the most balanced and comfortable. As a finishing touch, I put another red stroke around the icon, as I felt this just held it all in together nicely and sort of gave it some sort of global look. So now that the logo evolution was out of the way with option 1, I thought option 2 could be something a little bit more wild, a little bit more crazy, but still tie in with the overall meaning of what they want the logo to show. So as the meaning of the Toyota logo included the unification of the customer's hearts and Toyota products, because no one could pull out the meaning from their current logo. So I wanted to create something quite literal so the general public would actually understand the meaning and see Toyota in a more humanised and caring light. Ideally, I wanted to make the heart out of an oval shape, so I tried a few things to make that work, as I thought that would be a nice connection to the previous logo. But when I was trying this, it wasn't giving me that clean style that I normally like to strive for. So I drew out a super simple heart by making two 45-degree angled rectangles and then rounding one end, which gives this really super simplified heart effect. And then so this didn't just look like a generic heart icon, I decided to look at ways of incorporating a T into it and just basically copied the love heart shape, pasted in front, set that to a stroke, put the stroke to inside the shape and then just fattened it up until it looked nice with the T. So for option 3, I wanted to work up an idea that I had at the sketching stage, which was including an infinity symbol to indicate the boundless opportunities ahead, which was part of the meaning of their old logo. So I wanted to incorporate that in a different way by trying to include the infinity symbol. I didn't just want this to look like a standard icon next to the word Toyota, so I wanted to really get that infinity logo integrated into it, so it looked bespoke and relevant rather than just like slapping an icon above it. I tried for ages, probably a bit too long, to try and get the infinity symbol to be readable as the OYO in Toyota, like using the letters as the main point and actually trying to make the O's like the two rings on the outside and then some sort of overlap on the Y. After fiddling around until I was kind of happy, I put the other letters back around it so it did say Toyota, but then I realised the legibility was terrible. And if it was hard for me to read it when I was the one that literally just sat there and made it, what chance have the rest of the world got of being able to read it comfortably? I realised that if I wanted this to work, I was going to have to be less ambitious with the actual word mark and put all my energy into making a nice letter T infinity icon. There were times during this process that it started a little bit like two plums and a banana, but by balancing it out, I think I avoided it looking a little bit too rude. Or anything that's going to end up on them parody logo sites, because it looks like a you know what. I'm pretty sure someone will pause the video at the wrong point in this icon, take a screenshot and upload it to the comments. I'll be disappointed if it didn't happen, to be honest, because some of them shapes that are just, the joke's too good to miss. I then found a font that seemed to fit quite well, and I just adjusted some of the angles of that to fit in with the style of the icon that I created. So far, the 3 options that I created are all pretty rounded and friendly, so I thought it was time to sharpen it up a little bit and get gritty. Of course, I put snap to grid on, so everything was perfect and mathematical, just how I like it, and I started building various different shapes into the letter T. At the sketching phase, I thought I'd drawn out quite a nice idea for the triangular lowercase t, but as it developed in Illustrator, it started to look a little bit too wide and overall just not suitable for a car badge, so I decided to just ditch that one and move on. I think the reason that I ended up straying away from the lowercase t was the fact that I'd read about the fact that the original Toyota badge was symmetrical so that you could see it in the rearview mirror. I think that was a good point that I hadn't really thought about. Maybe when I sketched out the lowercase t, but now it's on my mind, I just didn't want to go down that route. I like the idea of some sort of sharp angle, as it gave this little flat icon a little bit more depth and a little bit more interest. The sheared rectangle, duplicated and rotated, made quite a nice capital T shape which worked nicely inside a red shape. I thought the box was clean but a little bit boring, so I decided to be a little bit more wild with it and wondered if curving the top left corner would be a nice touch, as it then hints sort of at a quarter of the top left of the Japanese flag, and also the curve is going upwards and to the right, which is generally like what you want to see. It's like an upward sales chart. It's super corporate and super cheesy, but that shape is often related to positivity and just general goodness. I wanted option 5 to use some contrast in the shapes by having our oval inside of another shape. I started working on a hexagon with a word mark down at the bottom and then transforming that word mark to fit the available space. Thought that could be a nice little badge shape and make quite a distinctive look. But as it developed, I didn't like how the Y looked next to the O, where it was skewed so dramatically. I think it was where the O filled up a lot more of the area within the shape. The Y wasn't as solid as the O at the bottom, so it looked very unbalanced when they were both skewed to similar heights. So after this didn't work, I was in the process of working out where to put the text, and I tried it in the middle and I thought, oh yeah, that's looking quite balanced and quite nice. just had something I liked about it. But the whole logo now looks a little bit top heavy, where we had like the oval at the top to make the T. Looked a little bit like it was gonna topple over. By putting another oval down the bottom, it gave us this look that kind of looked like a really simplified globe icon, but within the hexagon, which I was quite liking. The problem is, by doing this, it didn't look like a T in the background anymore. It just looked like two ovals that didn't make any letter. So I used the old stroke on a stroke trick to add some separation to highlight the T shape, so just by separating that away from it. It wasn't completely intentional, but now I'm looking at the final logo, I'd say that it's a mixture of a globe and maybe the top of a bolt, so it ties in nicely with unifying the world and with Toyota's products, because obviously I suppose cars are bolted together. So then, Rebrand gang, just before I show you them final options, I just want to remind you to vote for your favourite in the poll. Up here there's a little button that looks like an eye that will bring up your options, and you just click for your favourite. Comment down below and let me know what you think, what you would have done differently, just any feedback you've got. I just love getting them comments. Press like if you like the video, that helps the channel out. If you want to see videos like this every single Saturday, then subscribe and put the little bell on to make sure you get them notifications each time I upload. Oh yeah, I nearly forgot to say, if you want to submit a rebranding idea, then visit rebrandeverything.com, and I've got a little request form in there. So if you fill that out, and I'll put it in my ever-increasing list of rebrands to do in the future. I think that's everything that I've got to say, so let's see them final options. Let's go.